and the Stonks keep rising, ladies and gentlemen. Somehow, some way, the Penguins, against what felt like all odds tonight in a microcosm of a game, they it takes overtime, unfortunately, but the key point is they came out with with 2 points in this one, a wild 6-5 win over the Detroit Red Wings. Just Sidney Crosby, again, just an amazing game. He hits two milestones tonight. We'll get to that in a little bit. Brian Rust, a stunning game. The big guns come out to play, and it even featured a Jeff Carter shorthanded goal and a hat trick against. Just yeah, we'll get all into the details here in a second, but the main point, the main takeaway is, as we record this episode, the Penguins have 85 points with 86 points with 3 games left. They sit in the second wild card spot. They control their destiny. It is as simple as that. Snail, I get just you're running out of words or adjectives to describe what we're witnessing with this team. But as we enter these final 5 or 6 days of the season, the Penguins do control their own destiny in the playoff race. So if they win out, there's nothing anyone else can do. It's not easy, but a month ago you never would have thought saying the words Penguins control their own destiny entering the final weekend of the season.
Yeah, no, I don't know if this season is really good for like my health. I think that this season is wearing on my ticker. I got to be honest with you. I had it when it was, well, let me check here. Yep, at the end of the first period when Letang had just scored, I was kind of, sometimes when I'm watching these stressful games, I become a busybody. Like I start cleaning or doing some dishes while I'm watching. There was a point today where I actually turned off the volume. I had to go into another room and I turned off the volume because I just didn't want to. I wanted to come back and I didn't want to hear anything. And I came back and Chris Letang had just scored. So I flip it back on and I sit down on the couch and I'm watching the game intently and I'm seeing, to be blunt, Robbie, a lot of the bad habits that were plaguing this team prior to the beginning of this point streak run that they're still currently on. I'm seeing just turnovers and I'm seeing bad puck management. I'm seeing leaky goals. And I'm sitting there and I'm realizing that I my ears started ringing. Like I realized I wasn't taking full breaths and I was going to pass out while I was sitting down is what I'm saying. I was literally on the verge of passing out. So I start taking some deep breaths, letting it all in, letting it all out, relax the shoulders, unclench the jaw. And then the second period starts and Sidney Crosby starts off the goal scoring. And I'm like, no, Sidney Crosby is on a mission to drag whatever. They just need a heartbeat and Sid will drag whatever is left of this corpse into the playoffs. And I was like, oh, captain, my captain, let's go. And then Brian Rust scores. They're up by a couple. And I'm like, this is just have faith, man. You got to just have faith. And then that son of a bitch, Jeff Petrie, brings them within one. And I heard behind in a hot mic, some fan was like, why didn't you do that in Pittsburgh? And I was laughing and I was laughing, but I was pissed. I'm like, of all people, I hate seeing that guy do that. It drove me nuts. And then that was the end of the period after that. And then I didn't watch any of the third period. So before we hopped on here, I was telling Robbie I got to watch some of these clips right here. They give up the point to a team that they really needed 2 points. But Robbie, I will quote you. You will take 2 points and give up a point over no points. So, whatever. They did what they had to do and you heard Erik Karlsson say it at post game. I need that. The team needed that. And I couldn't agree more with that statement. Erik Karlsson contributed a big time goal. That's what he's paid to do. and the team gets 2 points, and they send Detroit packing, hopefully with hurt egos, and the race continues on, Robbie.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the wire. The Islanders won tonight as well, but the Penguins do get help in the form of the Buffalo Sabres defeating the Washington Capitals in regulation, knocking the Capitals now down to a spot below the Penguins at 85 points. But they do hold the tiebreaker over the Detroit Red Wings. The Flyers did win, but with they are at game 80. They are pretty much they would need a miracle to make the playoffs at this point, with everybody above them having a game in hand and a tiebreaker scenario that does not help them. The Penguins still do have that tiebreaker, which is massive, obviously, but right now they're in that second wildcard spot. And again, with 3 games left, the only thing you can ask for is to control your own destiny, and they do. It's going to be a raucous, crazy ride to the finish here. Boston on Saturday. Boston now, with the Rangers losing tonight, can move within a point of the top spot in the East. So Boston is going to come with it big on Saturday night, 8 o'clock game in Pittsburgh. But just going over the scoring here real quick. Drew O'Connor, what a season from Drew O'Connor. He's up to 15 goals.
Jake Gensel, who?
Yeah, well, I'm not. Yeah, Jake Gensel has like 21 points in 15 games. So
I can't say
too much. But O'Connor gets his 15th of the year from Rustin Crosby. Lucas Raymond, what a player he is. A big game tonight. Gets the tying goal less than a minute later. And then Snail mentioned the Chris Letang goal. Michael Bunting, another assist. Rickard Rakell, an assist. Letang hits the 10-goal mark this season. And then, as has been one of the problems with the Penguins these last 2 seasons here, giving up goals late in periods, Lucas Raymond gets his second of the period and of the game to make it 2-2 after 1. But the Penguins, again, it could have gotten away from them. They were not playing well. Sidney Crosby gets his 41st of the year on a terrific pass from Brian Rust. And then Riley Smith is the other assist there. It's 3-2 Penguins. And then about 5 minutes later, it is 4-2 Penguins. Brian Rust, a big game. Brian Rust showing up tonight. His 27th of the year to tie a career high. Riley Smith with the assist there. And then again, last minute of the period, as we mentioned, Jeff Petrie brings the Red Wings to within 1. Moritz Seider and Daniel Sprong, another familiar face there, getting the assist. You're ready to clench for this third period, and you get an opportunity to relax a little bit. Jeff Carter, a great steal at the blue line, shorthanded. He breaks in on Alex Leone, who had a night to forget, and blows one by him for his 10th of the year, a shorthanded goal there. And you're thinking maybe you can breathe a little, but 2 bad defensive plays get Detroit right back into it. Dylan Larkin gets his 32nd of the year, and then less than 2 minutes later, Lucas Raymond completes the hat trick after a bad pinch from Erik Karlsson. Kind of leaves everybody out to dry. It's 5-5, and now you're just praying for overtime. They do get there, which has not been friendly to the Penguins, but Erik Karlsson from Sidney Crosby and Rickard Rakell in the overtime frame wins it for the Penguins. Sidney Crosby has 3 points tonight, a goal and 2 assists. He hits the 1,000 assist mark in his career, an insane number of assists. That is a milestone that we had kept an eye out for. And with those 3 points, he also moves into sole possession of 10th place on the all-time scoring list. I believe the Penguins tweeted out that when Crosby hit the 10th, when he tied for the 10th overall spot, he's the first player in 14 years to move into the top 10 in career NHL scoring. I think the last one was actually our old friend Double J, Jaromir Jagr. So Crosby makes a good bit of history tonight, but I think the only thing he'll want to talk about is the result, which is the Penguins coming out on top of this contest. And yeah, the letdowns and the breakdowns that let Detroit back in this do sting. Giving away that point does sting, but you still right now controlling your own destiny. Boston on Saturday. again, that crowd is going to be absolutely raucous again. We know Boston's good, but the way the Penguins are playing right now, they feel like they look like even when I'm not on their best, even when they're not on their best, look like they can beat about anybody.
Yeah, geez. You sure said it, Robbie. There's so much I want to talk about right now. My mind is a Slurpee. Like I said, I was oxygen deprived for the first period, so let me get my bearings here a sec. So I just want to touch on first Drew O'Connor opening the scoring. Uh, that goal wasn't a bar down. It wasn't an obvious goal. It wasn't blown past him. It kind of trickled in, loose puck. But the Penguins go to the net and they get rewarded. Drew O'Connor, that's been he's finding a role in the NHL. We've watched him grow into this. I don't want to call him Zach Hyman because Zach Hyman has like 53 goals or something like that, and he's not Zach Hyman, but cut from a similar cloth, I would say so. And he's still young. Like I think I don't want to get too ahead of my skis here, but this looks like this could be Sidney Crosby's new winger. We don't know what the offseason is going to bring. We don't, there's a lot of hopeful fans out there about Jake Gensel returning to Pittsburgh. If he doesn't come back, Drew O'Connor, he's got a little Pascal Dupuis in him. He's got a little Chris Kunitz to him. And we all know how successful Sid was with two blue-collar players like that on his wings. Drew O'Connor continues to be a bright spot, having a career year. At this point, it's house money. Every point and goal he scores just pushes his new career high further. With that will come expectations next season. But how much did we talk about Drew O'Connor coming into this season before the season even started? Is Drew O'Connor a guy that the Penguins can count on to become, we talked about him being maybe a third line guy, bottom six guy. And there was a couple times when it's like, why couldn't he be a top six guy? We don't know. His potential's untapped. With Jake gone, he's really gotten that opportunity running with Sid. And it's paying off. 15 goals on the year. I mean, what more can you ask from a guy like him? Good to see Chris Letang get on the board with the goal. That shot kind of looked like one of mine off of my shooting pads in my backyard. It kind of fluttered off the stick, but you don't ask how, you ask how many. Sidney Crosby I'm kind of concerned now because there's no more history really on the line for him that he could really achieve before the end of the season. And it just seems that every time there's a big number, he's not really, I mean, he's competitive. That probably plays a small part in his mindset, but Phil Esposito, passing him, he's in sole possession, like you said, 10th all time. A true living legend. We're so privileged as Penguins fans to have watched him in his career. At times, we all know looked so iffy, questionable. The concussions, we all remember the concussions, and to see him dragging this team with its many flaws single-handedly, it seems at times, it's truly incredible. Brian Rust up to 27. Robbie, we've been on the Brian Rust train forever. You more vocally than anyone on this pod. He's at 27 goals. At the beginning of the year, we said health provided. Does he get 30? At this point, the way he's chugging, big game Brian Rust, the Rusty Razor. I mean, he needs 3 more, and he's got 3 more games left.
3 games, yeah.
Will we see a 30 goal posted by the Rusty Razor?
That would be something else. I mean, he's at 59 games played now, 27 goals. He's going to end with 50, assuming he does play the final 3 games. He'll end with 62 games played, which will be actually his most since, he played 81 last year. So he had a couple COVID-shortened years in there. So, I mean, you wonder what he would do if he was healthy, but I mean, he was all healthy last year, and he's completely just nuking his stats from last year when he played almost the whole season. So, Brian Rust, again, I mean, I've been on this train since he came into the league. He's scored big goals since the moment he stepped on the ice wearing a Penguin sweater. This dude is built for these kind of games, and again, not a guy that's probably sitting at home crunching the numbers about whether or not he's going to hit a new career high in goals, assists, and points or whatever. The dude, again, and he knows, and he kind of even alluded to it that when Jake Gensel got traded, some of these guys knew that they had to buckle down and be and step up, and he's one of those guys. Not that he was having a bad season to begin with; he was having a great season, but it seems like he's just completely hit another gear now that he has since the Jake Gensel trade. The dude just plays big in big games. It's really as simple as that. There's nothing more you can really say about Brian Rust that has not been said about him in his almost 10 seasons now with the Penguins.
Has it been 10?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is his ninth full season. He actually he played 14 games in his first season, but this is his ninth full season in the NHL. So yeah, I mean, he's played 9 full seasons. Next year will be 10 already.
I remember that first season he was playing on the fourth line, and they kind of were like, this is kind of he was like a Tyler Kennedy 2.0 kind of seen as that, smaller, good third liner maybe at best, but dude, Brian Rust is, like you said, not crunching numbers, looking to get to a milestone. He's like, get me to the playoffs, because that's where he shines brightest.
Yeah, and again,
clutch gene.
That used to be Jake Gensel in the playoffs, and still, I mean, Gensel could go out and have an absolute massive.
He'll probably show
playoffs.
out.
Yeah, I mean, if he shows out, his price tag just kind of. I mean, it's already high. It's going to skyrocket even higher. But Brian Rust, big game Brian Rust. Drew O'Connor has been absolutely massive down this stretch. We've waxed poetic about Michael Bunting multiple times. Didn't show out in the box score tonight. Did have an assist, but just a dude that is going to give you 110% every time he steps on the ice. Rickard Rakell was so tonight for 2 points. Riley Smith, who's been dogged all season, 2 points tonight. Jeff Carter, who we've probably talked about more on this podcast than any player not named Sidney Crosby, and very rarely in a positive light, gets his 10th of the year. A shorthanded
too.
Yeah, I mean,
he still has the wheels sometimes.
No, he does not have the wheels. He looked like he was skating in cement. I just think Detroit was that tired.
Is that what it was?
Oh, he wasn't skating fast. I'm surprised. No, like, he had a clean break, and it was basically, by the time he got a shot off, it was basically 1-on-2.
Okay, I didn't see that one, but just I every once in a while you'll see Carter get a little boost, like a little jolt of speed, and you're like, he's moving.
No. The Detroit, he just got a shot off, and Alex Leone was not good tonight. No doubt about that. I will say, I think on Saturday, I think we're going to see Tristan Jarry. I think that Nedeljkovic, even if there's no back-to-back, he needs a night off, and it's obviously not what you want to do, but I think you have to do it.
I think so.
And maybe you get a motivated Jarry who just goes off. And again, if the Penguins win on Saturday, they're looking really good, because you still have the cushion of you can lose one of those final 2 games. Boston would be an absolute massive win. That would be unbelievably massive at home.
In 14 games, Tristan Jarry is 3-6-3 with a goals against average of 3.22 and a save percentage of .905 versus the Bruins in his career.
Awesome. Super confident boosting information right there. But just the dudes on this team who just battle night in and night out. Jack St. Ivany was great again tonight. Ryan Shea, not a bad game. I will say the top 4 on the defense was absolutely brutal at times tonight. Just not good. Letang is still fighting something, but got a goal. Erik Karlsson was basically solely responsible for the final 2 Red Wings goals. Still got the game winner on an absolute bomb. Alex Leone really had no chance at stopping that. He basically just had to hope it hit him. But just an incredible, and it felt like so much of that. There was so much talk coming into this game where this is the first time in 15 years these 2 teams have played an actual meaningful hockey game, and it lived up to every bit of that hype. Just everything poured out in this game. It just lived up to everything we were hoping for. Obviously, you hope for the 2 points without giving up one, but as of right now, the Penguins, they get the help from Boston or Buffalo, and we're sitting pretty right now. That's really, after where they were, that's all you can ask for.
Just a little bit of an extra tidbit here. Nedeljkovic is 3-2-0 versus the Bruins a lifetime. So, really, Jari's played them a significant 14 times. Ned's played them 5, and the records are pretty staggering. So, do with that information what you will. Let it haunt your dreams tonight. There's really Ned. I just feel like the dude. He's starting to get burnt. I feel like I can smell it.
Yeah, I mean, 10 games. I mean, that's 10 starts in a row, with only one multi-day break, in this, in that stretch. So, I mean, you just have to wonder if it's not maybe time to get, if Saturday's your opportunity, and then you go back to Nedeljkovic on Monday. I don't know.
I'd give Jari Predators.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see what they do, because I don't think you can ride Nedeljkovic the last 3 games. What I would really love is beat Boston and beat Nashville, and that Islanders game means nothing.
Yep.
I don't see that happening. I think the Penguins might need something out of that game.
Jari's 3-0-2 against the Predators.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting to see what they do, but
put Ned in against Boston and put 3 Zins in a lozenge in his cheek, and put 2 smelling salts just taped to the inside of his mask, and hope that does the trick. Tape them together.
Yeah, just anything to keep him, upright, basically. Boston's gonna come with fire, but the way the Penguins are playing right now, they just find a way to crawl and grab everything. And again, one thing that we don't talk about a lot, but has to be mentioned now with this tight race, they have at least a 2-win tiebreak differential over everybody around them.
So they just have to tie.
Yes, they just need to get to that final playoff spot. Unless Washington would have to almost win out in regulation.
And with their goal differential, which it's amazing that they're still standing, because they should be a lottery team with what their goal differential looks like, right?
Yes. The only teams that can equal the Penguins on regulation wins are the Capitals and Flyers. They're the only Penguins have 31. Only the Capitals and Flyers can reach 31. Detroit and the Islanders, the most they can get is 30.
The Flyers won tonight, so they would. Like you said, I think pending a miracle, their goose is cooked, and the Capitals
been so dreadful. They've been just a bad hockey team.
Yeah, it would be truly. It would be shocking, but we've seen a lot of shocking stuff over the last.
So they play the Devils on Saturday, and then they play the Capitals on Tuesday. And actually, that game against the Capitals is the last game for both teams. So the Penguins could go into New York knowing exactly what they need to do. So just keep that in mind as well there. So, but yeah, so they get the Devils and the Capitals. The Devils have nothing to play for except spoiler, which I'm sure they'd love to do.
I'm sure.
The Devils, they straight up cannot catch the Penguins. They have 2 games left and sit on 81 points. They maxed out at 30 or 85 points when the Penguins, so they are eliminated from playoff contention.
That's right. So yeah, dude, a lot of scoreboard watching over the next couple of days. I guess before we move on totally from this, we were kind of tangenting off from the goal scoring there. Erik Karlsson got that big one in overtime. A little bit of redemption for the bad pinch that allowed Lucas Raymond to get the hat trick.
A pinch that cannot happen.
That's the stuff that kills this team. That's what drives me nuts. Is I know Sullivan preaches pinching down, but when you don't have the defensive structure in place to support pinching down prematurely like that, you just get burned every time. And that's what's completely killed the Penguins all season, coming from their blue line. And we know that Karlsson, everyone says, Karlsson and Letang, they have their defensive liabilities, but they make up for it in points. The power play didn't come through this season to really bail them out from in that perspective. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
They need to get it together because Boston, talk about a team with details dialed in. Like, that's why last year they set a new record in the 100-plus year history of the NHL for points. This season, they're doing it without Krejci and Bergeron. They're doing it with Charlie Coyle and Pavel Zacha as their top two centers. And they're not historic again, but they seem like they haven't missed a beat. The Penguins need to, whatever they were drinking from the last 10 days prior to this game, they need to get back to whatever it was that was, because their details were the bright spot, and that's where that's when you have that structure, it lets guys like Letang and Carlson thrive. It just sets your offense up to be more potent when you're not always having to chase pucks down your other end. Anyways, I needed to get that off of my chest, but big goal for Carlson. I think we talked about it last time we did a little rundown of the games to come. The Penguin Stars needed to outshine Detroit's in order to win this game. They did a good job of quieting Patrick Kane. I thought he was kind of a non-threat most of the game. Patrick Kane's kind of old now, though. So Lucas Raymond, though, with the hat trick, that kid, I remember like a year or two ago, they were maybe looking to move on from him. They weren't sure if he was going to pull through. He's certainly a threat now.
Yeah, Lucas Raymond's having quite a season, almost at 30 goals now. Great player that they have there. But yeah, Penguins, again, the Carlson pinch, going back to that real quick, there's a time to pinch, and when you're up one goal in...
Just play it safe.
In the late third period, and you need that 2 points, there's no reason. I understand the mind automatically goes to offense for guys like Carlson and Letang, but you just need to play defense. Just strictly sit back, 2-on-2. That's all you need to do in that situation. And just baffling decision making. Again, that's partly on coaching too. It's a brain fart. It's coaching.
There was a few of those.
Yeah.
Today.
There've been a few of those all season.
To say it lightly, to put it lightly, a few all season. It's nice to see. How have we not talked about Sid just going at Sherratt there? That brought the game's intensity up to a whole new level, I thought. When he did that MMA move on Sherratt. Did you see that?
Yeah.
What did you think about Sid? I thought Sid was like, let's go. I'm trying to get the boys fired up. Let's take control of this game. And for a minute there, it really did cause a boost. I know Garrett probably hid in between the couch cushions, but there was an immediate response, and I thought it brought it was so awesome against the Red Wings. When was the last time the Penguins and the Red Wings rivalry this intense since 2009?
Yeah, absolutely. Since the last time they met in the playoffs, because the Penguins had basically won. The Penguins were ascending. Detroit was on the descent at that point. Detroit then moved to the Eastern Conference, and they played each other more. But Detroit was, really bad for a long time. They're still, they have not been back to the playoffs since 2000. I don't even know how long it is now.
It was the year that the Penguins had their 2015-16 was the last time.
Okay, so it's been almost 9 seasons at this point that they've been out of the playoffs.
Yeah, Zetterberg was hurt playing back injury, I think. They weren't trying to retool on the fly, as they say. I think they just
they kind of did what the Penguins are doing, and just running their superstars to the very end and then going through a rebuild. The rebuild was probably botched along the way by people that were in charge that shouldn't have been in charge. Stevie Y seems like he wants a plan. He has a plan in place. Eventually, they're going to have to start winning. The goaltending situation seems less than ideal, but still a lot of good young talent in that team. Larkin
played with Zetterberg.
Yeah, that's terrifying. Larkin feels like he's 18, but also been around for 10 years.
Anthony Mantha, they were a part of that rebuild, and then they ended up getting shipped out. Those guys didn't really pan out the way that I think the organization had hoped. But on other teams too, I mean, I don't even know if Verana's in the league anymore.
Well, he was
player
traded.
assistance.
Yeah. I don't. He went through some things for a while, but again, the dude just keeps playing. The team, again, they're a good team. They have a lot of young talent. Eventually, at some point, you have to think that that they get it all together. But
you hope they turn a corner before all of a sudden they're old again, right?
Yeah, I mean,
someday Larkin's going to be 35, and it's going to be like, did they ever flip that coin? Did they ever turn it over? DeBrinket's, young, but he's not a spring chicken by any means. They added Patrick Kane, David Perron. Those guys are old.
Oh yeah, I don't expect Perron and Kane to be around for much more. There's no guarantee Kane's even back next year, and Perron's probably the same thing. Larkin will be 28 by the time the puck drops next year. But I mean,
they got that Simon Edvinsson and Maurice Sider, Lucas Raymond. They got some young guys there, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean,
they never got that first overall pick for all that suffering. No,
they
never even got close.
They never did. They did not. They never did luck into that. But again, they built a lot of what they were through good drafting, good depth drafting.
Oh yeah,
Zetterberg was like a late round pick. I mean, they built that franchise.
Pavel Datsyuk was like a 7th rounder.
Yeah.
And then CBY in Tampa too. I mean, like Killorn, Palat, those guys were later in the draft. They weren't.
They did have Stamkos.
They did get Stamkos. Yeah,
that was a 1st overall pick. So they did, and Hedman was a 3rd overall pick. But like Vasilevsky, no, Kucherov, no. But yeah, it's the way the ball bounces, I guess. But the Penguins, they do get a big win tonight, 6-5 in overtime, unfortunately. But 2 points is better than 1 or none in this situation. They're still in a better position than the Detroit Red Wings, the team they beat, are. 3 games left, starting Saturday, again at home. It is the big bad Boston Bruins coming to town with something likely to play for. So no real scoreboard watching for Friday night. It's mostly West Coast games, I think. But Saturday, the Penguins are at 8, but I just checked the schedule for Saturday, and basically every team around them plays before they do. So there will be some scoreboard watching to be done all day long on Saturday, so keep that in mind. And
on Saturday the 13th, we've got the Islanders playing the Rangers, and that will not be a game Garrett will be tuning into, not for the faint of heart. You've got the Devils and Flyers. I think Robbie mentioned that already. They're playing at 2 p.m. my time, so I don't know, whatever time that is you guys' time.
5 o'clock our time.
5 o'clock your time.
Yep.
Lightning Capitals. You're just hoping the Lightning do what they need to do there. Hopefully they start Vasilevsky.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Maple Leafs and the Red Wings, which whether these guys are in rebuilds or whether they're at the top of their game, it's an original 6 matchup. You know that will be a heated game. Patrick Kane gets up for a game like that. And Matthews, who I saw he scored 68. Maybe he will get to 70 this year. You never know. You hope the Maple Leafs do what they need to do there. And then you've got Penguins, Bruins, and you know what, the Stars need to shine, and they need to show out. You need Michael Bunting. I think Michael Bunting is my player to watch that game. He needs to be firing on all cylinders and getting into the opposition's in their kitchen. He needs to be effective in I don't even care if he doesn't get on the scoreboard. I'd like him to, but if he can be effective in that Michael Bunting way, I think that's going to be a huge part of the Penguins' success in what I'm hoping is a clean 2 points and on to Nashville.
Absolutely. So that's about it for tonight. Penguins win, big win. We can relax for 48 hours now before we get to do this all again. Jesus. I am very tired. I forgot how much it takes out of you.
Yeah.
Even
1 year removed.
Last year, I didn't even feel. Maybe last year I just thought they were always going to find a way to get it done. and then
oh god,
they didn't, and I just kind of never had that that feeling. But tonight I felt like a playoff hockey, and I'm like, okay, it sucks, but I kind of missed it. So
I miss it too. It's good. It's the competitive juice is flowing. It's important, but I'm not even kidding. Like I'm gonna need to like do like breathing practices before. Like I'm 1 year removed from like Penguins playoff hockey, and I already almost keeled over on my couch from not breathing correctly.
it wasn't even a playoff game.
It wasn't even a playoff game. It was just a really important game. I'm probably gonna have 3 to 6 beers tonight before I lay my head to rest, just to kind of wind down, and then tomorrow probably anticipate the game all day, and then come Saturday, we got to wait all the way till 5. For me, I have to wait all the way till 5
Yeah.
p.m. That's going to be brutal, but
Yep.
stonks are rising. They continue to rise, and we're what do they call it? We're holding on. We're holding steady. We're not selling.
No, we are holding our stonks. Not selling yet. There's no reason to sell yet. So just keep fingers crossed, keep watching, because it's going to be a wild final.
I just have a feeling it's going to come down to a play-in versus the Islanders that last game.
That would kill me. So.
I hate the Islanders too. Hopefully they
Yeah.
beat Boston and they beat Nashville, and that game is just call up Sam Poulin to play and let Jari have that game, because it won't matter.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh! Before we go, quickly, what did you think about them pulling Puljujarvi out of the lineup and putting in Radim Zohorna? I didn't. That was left field for me. I had no idea. Like I didn't know about that.
I'd rather would just have Puljujarvi in the lineup.
Yeah, why tinker, right?
He does stuff that you just don't see. Like he's not just because he's not filling net. His speed is such a weapon, and you don't expect it. I would just much rather have him in the lineup. Experienced, yeah. I just much rather have him in the lineup.
Puljujarvi over Zohorna.
Yeah.
I mean Zohorna. I like the guy, but I'm like, dude, we've done this how many times, and he's never really been like that impact. Like when it's mattered, he hasn't really impacted the game too much. I think Puljujarvi, he's like what, a 3rd overall pick, and he's got a hell of a shot. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Just anyways, we should stop talking now. We should go to bed. I forgot to bring that up, and I was curious what your thoughts were. In my mind, I'm like, I want Sullivan to push the right buttons, and I want him to try to get the team fired up, send messages, whatever. But Radim Zohorna, who's having, I guess, a good season down in Wilkes-Barre, I just think that Puljujarvi and Bemstrom on that line have been pretty decent. So
yeah,
whatever. Hopefully he's back in the lineup against Boston. We could use the size.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go to bed, Robbie. For Robbie J. Noggle, I am Snail. We will see you all next time.